Sometimes I think the reason why we get so frustrated with God is because we're expecting Him to do things for us. But if there's anything I've learned about God over these past few years, it's that He's an empowering God, not an enabling God. Side note, why do your child's shoes always disappear when you're ready to walk out the door? Found them. Anyway, when God designed this earth, He designed it for His children to reign and rule over. We cannot reign and rule as babies. Babies don't run kingdoms. So that means in order to get to the point where we know how to reign and rule, we have to grow. You ready to get dressed? Yeah. Let's go. And sometimes when we're learning and growing, it can look a whole lot like God has taken His hands off of us. But think about this. When a baby is learning to walk, do you keep your hands on them the whole time? Or do you stand by them and encourage them to take the steps for themselves? I'll give you this example. Yesterday, I was working in my office. We are getting ready to renovate an old storage room into an office and writing area for me. So I'll be sharing updates on that soon too. So stay tuned for that. But yesterday I'm working in my office and I'm working on doing the wood filling of the scratches. And the wood filler kept drying on me because my son kept wanting my attention. And so I told him, hey bud, I don't mind if you're out here. You can come spend time with me, but I cannot help you do anything right now because I have to do this wood filler before it dries. And he wanted to ride his bike. He just learned how to ride a bike without training wheels. The only problem was that he couldn't figure out how to get it started on his own. And he knew that he couldn't interrupt, so he knew that if he wanted to do it, he would have to figure it out for himself, or he would have to wait. So I'm sitting there working and watching him out the window. And he is trying everything to figure out how to get this bike to work. At one point, he even propped it up against a tree so that he could climb on it and try to get it to go. And it kept falling, and he was getting so frustrated. And parts of me wanted to jump in and be like, I'll help you. Just let me do it for you, But I knew that this was an important lesson for him to learn, because once he learned how to do it himself, it would instill so much confidence in him, and he would be so proud of himself for not giving up. So I didn't do anything. I just let him figure it out for himself, and I was sitting there in the window cheering him on. And then when he finally got it, I ran out that room and I was like, you did it! Good job, buddy! I'm so proud of you. And it was like God spoke to me in that moment and said, that's what I'm doing with you, right? Sometimes we just have a tendency to look at it the wrong way. We look at it as, God's not helping me. God's not doing anything for me. I'm all on my own. What you don't see is that He is standing at that window, cheering you on, knowing that you're going to get it. He is your number one biggest cheerleader. Sometimes He just wants to empower you rather than enable you. So keep going until you get there. But I know just how frustrating that can be. Trust me, I understand firsthand. But that's why I wrote this book, 7 Days to a Life of Limitless. So that when you get to those hard parts where you feel a little bit stuck and frustrated, you don't have to do it alone. I walked through all of that for 3 years and counting, but I wrote it all down in a book about what I've learned so that you can learn from my mistakes and maybe have a little bit less frustration along the way. And I also wrote a journal to go with it in case you need help hearing God's voice. It's just a way to practice where you ask God questions and journal the answers below. If you think either of these things could help, you can find them on TikTok Shop, on Amazon, or at yourfriendcaitlin.com.